starting to look like maybe a DP off here for Zoomers. They get the Crystal Maiden on hand, so you have the fight of the sisters, Lina and CM up against each other. Always fun to have that. And you have some good sustain out for Zoomers. They have some way of clearing out the creep waves with the CM as well, with Crystal Nova spam. Of course, CM into Beastmaster is something we've seen a lot of. Frost biting the boars early on gives you a little bit more lane control there for Zoomers, so it's a solid response to that Beastmaster. It's just that depending on what that dual off lane is for PentAce, could also be a bit of a tricky CM lane. Once you overextend in jumping those boars, Tusk can come in. The other boar that the Beastmaster can summon can still run you down. So there's still some options for PentAce to kind of play around with there.
PentAce going to have a bit of a deeper think for this fourth pick. I'm going to say this CM is going to have probably a pretty tough game overall. I mean, into the Beastmaster, it's nice, but you know, if it is a Tusk pos 4, they're just going to run you down. Not really much you can do as a CM to get away either.
No. Even a Lina 4, I think, is going to be an issue for a CM.
Yeah.
You don't trade well in that range. Maybe you can spam your Crystal Nova, but ideally you want to focus on the Boris to secure that safe lane for your safe laner. And we tend to see support Lina start with a Blightstone. So the right-click damage Lina will apply on a CM is significant. We'll have to see if that's the case. PentAce do go with a Gyrocopter, so they've got some really good early aggression on hand. Right? We've seen Gyrocopters just take over the laning phase. Still a very potent laning here to have. And in this case, Gyrocopter plus Tusk, for example, as a dual lane, is actually pretty scary. So you're going to have to watch yourself on the side of Zoomers. I mean, a DP can sustain that lane if it is the core off-lane DP. But it takes a few levels for you to have enough charges in the Spirit Siphon to really hold out on your own. And that is something PentAce can abuse here.
Well, they go for the PL. Into the Gyrocopter. I mean, it's been a long time, but that is a Gyrocopter with Flak Cannon. He also buys Maelstrom generally with an Aghanim Scepter, so you are going to already have the direct counter towards the PL. Not really sure what the idea is, unless things have changed. It's been a long time since I've seen PL versus Gyrocopter in a matchup, but I dare say the Gyro still has the advantage. Hell, even if you don't have the Maelstrom and the Ags, you still have Cooldown and Flak Cannon. Even the Rocket Barrage can be quite useful in being able to kind of just delete illusions as they're on top of you. So it must be feeling very confident with the PL to pick it up here.
Yeah, I think it's more of the fact that you don't have, like, say, natural support counters for the PL. Tusk doesn't really lock in the PL too well. The Beastmaster as well has to get a pretty good roar off to set up. So in that case, the PL runs around. The Gyrocopter against PL can go either way, I think. Like, if your Gyrocopter gets that initial farm, initial lane running well, and gets those items fast, the PL has to be very careful about that spacing. But once you, say, hit the hard timing with the Diffusal and maybe Manta or SNY on a PL, it can just run down the Gyrocopter as well, and you can start your fight by stunning up the Gyro, preventing the Flak from coming through, then burning through all its mana, and then the Phantom Lancer can take control. So it's a weird back and forth. The Gyrocopter does have an easier time in that matchup, but the PL has some ways of kind of getting that done. So it's an interesting pick from Zoomers, kind of a confident pick as well, and we haven't really seen Sammy play that PL all too often, at least here in the BTS Pro Series 5, so we'll have to see what he does go for, especially in itemization. If it's the Octarine, I don't know about the Octarine build anymore. Everyone's been trying it. I just don't know. It hasn't been working in these games, in this group stage at least.
You know, knowing our luck,
close
John,
out with the Invoker at least.
during the Singapore Major, I can guarantee teams are going to start playing the PL with that build-up. We're going to look like the biggest idiots when Season 2 comes around at the DPC.
Oh, goodness. Maybe, you know, we'll see when that Major does roll around. But Zoomers close out with the Invoker, so they've got some pretty good team fight. They've got a way of buffing up the Phantom Lancer with Alacrity. They don't really have setup for the Invoker team fights, and PentAce just go into that Storm Spirit. So pretty good lane for the Storm to match up against. You will have to watch the early spell use, as without the zip, it's going to be a bit harder to dodge some of that movement out. It still leads for a very interesting game. Really solid drafts from both sides. You've got some great ways to control either core. You've got good back and forth timing between these two cores. So we'll just have to wait and see. Again, PentAce has done better in the groups in this tournament, but in the DPC, Zoomers did have their number in that direct matchup going 2-0. So we'll see if the roster shakeup for PentAce will give them that edge this time around up against the Zoomers.
I've got to say, John, it looks like quite a free Storm game for PentAce. I think the Gyro doesn't really have too many issues either. I mean, I look at PentAce's draft and I just think they're ahead of 4 Zoomers in every way. Could be 100% wrong though. The game is about to start, so we'll find out how it is going to pan out. But I'd like to go ahead and say that I think the PentAce draft does already have the answers towards 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, I mean, it has the solutions. I don't know, when I look at it, I think there's a lot of outplay potential from both sides. Like, if Zoomers plays their cards right, you know, you set up with your Shaker, you follow up with an EMP timed onto the Storm. When he runs out of mana, he's going to be vulnerable.
But how do you do that? That's my problem.
You have to be on point with the supports. Like, if you're in the fog, you got the fissure off, maybe you follow up with a root and CM, and then you can start playing like that. Like, it has to be executed perfectly from Zoomers. They've got the silence in the DP, so they do have some ways of getting some hold. But the same thing goes for PentAce. If Ryoya just zips around, if he gets, say, a fast BKB, he has nothing to worry about here, and he can just run down. So it all boils down to how the supports approach this. So there's a lot of pressure here on Ocean and Husky to actually get that initial control and also win out their lanes. But it can be difficult. Like, the laning presence on those two heroes just doesn't feel as amazing as what PentAce has with the Tusk and Lina support duo. You've got a lot to play with on hand. The Gyrocopter lane is going to be a lot more active compared to a PL lane that's just naturally a bit slower to play with. So when it comes down to getting that early aggression off, PentAce does have it up in spades compared to the Zoomers.
Prepare yourselves for the main event.
Always good to see a level 25 Storm as well on Ryoya. Still up against the 25 Invoker. Also going to be very nice. Gotta say, I do prefer seeing Gunner on different heroes to the Invoker. It always feels like the Invoker just doesn't do enough anymore as a hero to really be that valuable when you've got a high skill player like this. But then again, you know, you had the Morphling band and the Ember band, so I guess you've got to kind of go to something else. Seems like the Invoker is kind of the third pick if those two are removed. See what he does this game.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like, we've seen a lot of Invokers fall flat. We've also seen them sometimes pop off. We're going to have to wait and see what Gunner does opt for in his build-up. So far, just queuing up his nulls, of course, just for a steady lane, as you tend to see. Already getting ready with additional tangos to fly out. Ryoya is already set with his own tangos, though. So, going to have a stable enough time finding that out. They do not manage to spot out the ward, but their own ward is pinged out. So, they do manage to figure out that ward's there. Maybe Ryoya gets an early sentry to just take that out. They've got this aggressive ward inside of Zoomers to maybe go for Courier Snipes. It's just that, I don't know, a DP support going for Courier Snipes doesn't... DP offlane and Shaker offlane going for Courier Snipes isn't the easiest. You can see it get done, and Ocean should be aiming to do that now with this really aggressive deep ward.
Really like the fact that they're already harassing Sammy out on this PL. And look at this, Snaking. Just going to secure the range creep immediately using the Wild Axes. So just really wanting the level advantage, and he has already gone for the Wild Axes build. So just wanting to get the XP advantage over Sammy, and I do like that decision as well. Because in theory, Sammy really shouldn't be able to farm that easily while Mu is around on this Lina. And as you can see, poor old Husky is going to have to cop a lot of harassment from this Lina. And that's without any damage items on this Lina as well. Once she gets level 2 and has Fiery Soul up, it's just going to get that much worse. And I get a little bit concerned for 4 Zoomers about this safe lane now. I think it's just going to be a very difficult time.
Yeah, and I love the Wild Axes coming up from Snaking. Like, when you have a CM, obviously you just want to go for the Frostbite and Crystal Nova on the boards, but there are no boards to clear out, so Husky's presence is now just a bit of a negative, and Snaking can just easily apply the harassment with the Axis out. Mu can play with his range advantage, as you've seen, and as the levels go up, it just gets a little bit trickier for Husky to have that presence here.
I mean, just look at this. Look at the damage output. Husky's trying to run. Sammy's trying to help, but he can't. He gets a bit of harassment off, but ultimately loses more HP. We'll have a quick look back at this lane later on, John, because it looks like this is where we might see our first blood. But mid lane, Ryoya is up against the Invoker. I mean, you are about to hit the level 3 mark. In fact, you already have on Ryoya. So we might see a kill attempt here from the Storm with the Vortex. But ultimately, I think Gunnar should remain pretty safe. He already has the EMP Tornado combo, and in fact, we are going to see the first blood, except it's 4 Zoomers up at top lane that managed to get it. So there you go, Sammy, proving us wrong, getting the first kill of the game. And it's going to be a very nice start for the Phantom Lancer to have that bonus gold up.
Yeah, it's coming at the cost of him still not finding the best last hits, but having kill on hand does compensate for that. You do see, you know, if you misstep a bit, Frostbite comes out, Crystal Nova comes out, and Sammy with the Phantom Rush can get some good damage in on his hits. So you can gap close quite nicely and punish the Lina. Have to be careful for those spikes, but overall should still be a solid lane to hold for the side of PentAce. Still down mid. That matchup, as you mentioned, level 3 in Ryoya does lead to some more opportunities. He does go for the overload.
Nice
and
fish
you have
off.
this early rotation from Ocean.
That's a really nice fisher out. Gunnar, he can't get too much damage off, even with the cold snap. Underneath the tier 1 tower, Ryoya was safe. Ocean, he might even stick around for another. I still don't think it's going to be enough to really kill off Ryoya, but you may as well just continue to make him feel very unsafe, as now the Vortex comes out. Fisher is there, this time not really blocking Ryoya out. So he does walk around and he's going to be just fine. And of course with that, we'll have a look at the final lane, which is the bot lane, where Brax is going to take a lot of damage. Z-Freak making sure the Death Prophet does not feel good either. B, however, having a decent enough time on the gyro. But he is a bit behind in terms of CS.
Yeah, it's slower going, even without the presence of the supports for the most part harassing him out. He is still kind of struggling here, but that's what you tend to see from gyros early on. You probably want your early null, if not this early Band of Elven Skin, to help your right click up. And Brax, it's, you know, off-lane DP is one of those heroes you can leave alone, so leaves a lot of room for Ocean to just be a nuisance towards Z-Freak, not allowing him to go for pulse, and always getting that presence off in mid.
Lane, Ryoya, he loses a bit of mana to the EMP. Early levels of EMP don't do too much. So he got the double damage, but now Ocean, a great rotation again with the fish around. Ryoya gonna get tornadoed. He's gonna try and fight back with the Vortex, and now the Light Strike Array and the uphill miss. They can't kill him. Everything goes wrong for 4 Zoomers in that mid lane. Absolutely everything. On the brighter side, top lane, 4 Zoomers do push out the Beastmaster, but Moo's gonna be here anyway. That's going to be a nice big bonus for the Storm in the mid lane. Just not dying and getting that bonus golden HP, going to feel very nice.
Yeah, it sets Ryoya up fairly well, all things considered, so he's going to be pretty happy about that failed rotation. Of course, they did get the good block off. There's just not enough damage on Invoker early on, so have to temper that aggression here from the side of Zoomers. Very even start so far, 1-1, less than 1k lead coming out for PentAce. And of course, with the bounty runes coming up, you should see some bottle refills. Did see a bit of a run up from Z-Freak, but can't really gap close. So just back to holding these lanes steady. You can see the Zoomers still wanting to play aggressive on snaking, but Moo is level 3. Level 2 LSA can be pretty annoying to play into now.
So, I mean, Sammy's farming really nicely. I thought this lane would go a lot worse for him, but so far, so good. Bottom lane, Fear has managed to catch up in terms of CS. He's now just about the same as Sammy on the PL. And Brax has tried to make it very hard on the DP. He's been doing a great old job. Because Ocean can't really do much on the Earthshaker right now. Not in this lane with Z-Freak around. He's just going to sit back and just fisher in case he needs to, but that's about all he can do. Top lane. Oh, snaking. He's been caught out now. Sammy going in for the chase. Husky has a mango. Should be able to pop it. Tornado. Not going to actually reach. They don't go for the Crystal Nova. They won't get the Beastmaster. Husky going down to snaking. They do at least kill off Moo. And Husky, he was waiting because I think they wanted to give the kill over to Gunnar. but the tornado was just too short.
Yeah, and they were just trying to spread the gold out onto Gunner because he did TP up top to try and secure that. Costs them the kill instead. So you're gonna be very happy if you're snaking. You're gonna get some TP rotations as well, Ryoya.
Yeah. Level 6, about to hit 7, straight onto Sammy. Doppel will be out. They do get the frostbite. Looks like Ryoya might settle for the easier kill onto Husky. But he doesn't really want to dive Tier 1 tower. He will anyway, though. So he has a haste rune. So he gets something for his trouble. But definitely not the target Ryoya wanted.
Yeah, I think you're still happy enough. Like, that TP rotation nets you a clean kill compared to Gunner's movement out. It's a lot better there. And it's that point where snaking with the level 1 Necronomicon can shove a tower in. It's a Lina as well on hand, so the right-click damage just flows out. That top tier 1 is not going to last too long if the Zoomers don't respond to it. And it doesn't feel like they're in a position to really stop this shove in from PentAce.
No, they are not. Z-Freak, he's dropping very low. A great tornado out will be enough to kill off the Tusk. And now they'd love to get the gyro. Ocean doesn't spot him. They must assume Fear's gone. Nice hiding there from Fear. Now shows himself again. Earn out with the cold snap. They don't wish to overcommit. They really just want that tier 1 tower down early. Exorcism's going to be out now. Z-Freak going to show himself on the Tusk. And they don't quite get through the whole tier 1 tower, but they've just about got it down. Z-Freak now, a nice shards out on Brax, but the homing missile will not make it in time to cancel off the TP. Now Gunner with an EMP tornado. It's going to drain the mana of Z-Freak, but that's going to be about it. Ocean and Gunner now going to go for a quick smoke rotation, it seems.
Yeah, they want to stay on the aggressive. They do have this early earn on Gunner, so they want to get some more charges up. I'm not really sure what targets they have to go for. No one's really showing on the map. They do have some good forward wards. If they jump snaking, they have to watch out for that roar, and you can't underestimate the Necronomicons, but they are dragging more bodies up. At least they have Sammy on hand as well.
Well, snaking, he's going to be in big trouble. Not expecting this. He is out of position. Fish is going to fly out. Sammy is going to be able to claim a very easy pickup. Nice rotation from 4 Zoomers. I was kind of a bit shocked snaking stuck around that long at that top lane, but maybe just really wanting to make Sammy feel uncomfortable. He did have a massive net worth advantage as well over the PL, at least before he did go down, but now it does even out a bit with Sammy being able to take the kill.
Yeah, I think he felt safe with the presence of his ward. Didn't expect a smoke commitment for him. They do have an opportunity here from the side of PentAce, though. They are smoked up as well, rotating mid.
Oh, they're wrapping right around. Mu has his smoke broken. Ocean, the one to break it. They are underneath vision, but they do hang out on the other side of the lane. And it makes it a bit too challenging for the side of PentAce to get in there and actually initiate. So they're going to try and force it by taking this tier 1 tower, but 4 Zoomers are very well aware that something is awry. Everyone is missing off the map, and now they're going to show themselves. And 4 Zoomers can try and defend. EMP out already. That'll force them back for a bit, but now Z-Freak in with the shots, not going to land perfectly. Fisher was out as well. Tornado from Gunner onto 2. Moo going to try and run. Call down there is not going to be enough. 4 Zoomers do get 1 down. In fact, they should find another. Z-Freak is trying to get out. He does still hold on to the snowball and Brax. Well, his ghosts are following Z-Freak, but they're not going to be enough. So they get the Lina, and that's going to be about it.
Yeah, that does stop the shove down mid. So I think they're happy enough just preventing that tower from falling. They can look for an angle themselves to force a fight, but without Exorcism, this could be difficult.
Try. Spirit Siphon out. Fisher there, but it's on the wrong side. Still, Tornado does connect. Mood dropping low again on the Lina, but is eventually going to be able to run her way out. Now Gunner's being chased down by units, but he's going to go into the Ghost Walk. And PentAce, they're just going to continue trying to apply that mid lane pressure. Keeping the rest of 4 Zoomers huddle up in this mid lane. But they are managing to hold, and I suppose as long as Brax is here on the DP, he can just continue to spam Crypt Swarm. And should be able to defend just by himself almost.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to fight into. You need to commit a lot of heroes to really kill off a DP. Brax also has this Falcon Blade up, so there's a little bit more HP on hand and a lot more mana regen to sustain that D-shove as well. So they're not going to be able to really force that issue just yet. They are getting a lot of space out in PentAce to farm up on Fear though. He's been AFKing in the jungle, going for a Mask of Madness build-up on the gyrocopter, so his farm is set to just burst once you have that up, even maybe looking at early fights if you want, although that's probably going to have to be with the S and Y timing instead. So steady build up for the gyro, still not quite as fast as Sammy. Sammy's just pulling ahead now, still saving up for the defusal, has a casual Hood of Defiance to sustain through some of that early magic damage coming through. So the PL is a bit tankier up front, and the defusal timing is going to be key for Sammy if he will want to show his face in these engagements.
I like the fact that they actually allowed Snaking to farm the triangle instead of giving it over to Fear straight away. They just wanted Snaking to be able to farm that Necro 3 book up ASAP, and obviously it's going to pay a few more dividends because you've got Gunner with Ghost Walk. So having that True Sight with the Necro book is going to be very effective. And just allowing Fear to farm the other jungle instead to make that happen, I think is going to pay off very nicely for PentAce. Still, Sammy is doing the exact same thing and is quite close to the Defusal Blade now. Perhaps maybe they should be a little bit concerned about how fast Sammy is really farming on this PL. It doesn't really look like he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Once the Defusal's up, it's going to be a very nice power spike before Zoomers. Looks like Fear's going to take a bit longer to catch up in terms of farm. We'll see if PentAce can actually find Sammy on the map somewhere. That's the one thing I'm looking for here from PentAce, is to at least force him away and out of the farming spots he wants. Because right now, Sammy's getting whatever farm he needs to.
Yeah, and you saw a smoke rotation out from PentAce not working out, in fact.
I mean, Snaking's going to get cold snapped. It's not going to lead to a kill. Shard's out, however. They've caught Gunner. That's a very big kill.
Ooh.
Husky with the freezing field, not going to do enough, but now the Echo. Ocean at least gets one. Zip in from Ryoya. They clean up. PentAce. As soon as that Necro 3 came up on Snaking, they wanted a fight. And with that fight, they will also get a tier 1 mid tower. And that's going to be very bad news for 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, they kind of forced their fight in a really awkward angle right by the tier 1 there. Not in a good position to defend. And that is a really big pickup for PentAce, as that does lead to the Orchid of Ryoya as well. So the Storm zipping in is going to be able to take control, silence up perhaps the Invoker, or even a PL. And the PL without a Manta buildup is going to be very vulnerable if he does get isolated. So you have to be cautious on the side of Zoomers. Although they do at least find Snaking.
That they do. Bot lane, they do end up finding out Husky. Ryoya just getting the kill by himself, but now Sammy has got Ryoya without mana. Sunstrike to come in, not enough. It's only level 1 Exort from Gunner. So it really does no damage. Husky will actually give Ryoya the tip. 100% sure why, but sure Ryoya is going to be happy with it. He knows he's doing a great job on that Storm, and I mean, speaking of him, he's top of the net worth board. He's having a great time.
Yeah, he's found the initial farm. His laning phase was going really well. So they have a great foundation to build off of with these timings on PentAce, the Orchid on Ryoya, the Necro trees that we saw out from Snaking. Still, Zoomers are starting to find a few things themselves. Ocean has his Blink up. So the Blink Echo is available. The Blink Stuns are available to get the instant lockdown off and then get the follow-up as well. Going to be important for Ocean to find those key targets to try to block the Storm before he can get any of his spell uses off if they want to truly kill off Ryoya now. It's going to be harder and harder as the game goes on, simply because Storm's going to have more mana to play with. So have to be on point with the initiation from Zoomers, and that's where all the pressure lies. They have to find these angles with the supports, and it's not the easiest game to get those angles, so there's always going to be a bit of a challenge. Unfortunate board drop as well, as it's immediately sentryed out.
Fisher out, they've caught out Moo, Silence in as well, Cold Snap, Moo. May have just resigned himself, understanding he should be dead. Orchid, Crypt Swarm, will that be enough? It will be, just barely. Gunner gets a kill.
Yeah, it's a nice freebie kill. They do smoke up, but that's going to be revealed by the illusion shove bot. Mid, they will try to rotate top though.
Yo-Yo gonna TP out in time, and I was very sure that was spotted. That smoke. Pretty sure the creep wave saw at least Sammy was smoked up. They avoid the gank attempt. This is buying Sammy quite a lot of time on the PL to just keep freely farming. That's not going to be a bad thing for 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, and I love seeing this from Sammy. He's going for the Manta. No silly Octarine builds. Still a smoke out this time from PentAce. He could catch Sammy out.
Gunner. Oh, he breaks the smoke, but the Necro 3 again going to be popped by Snaking. Then they just want to burst down Gunner. They'll get him on to another. It looks like Brax is going to be focused down. Walrus punches there from Z-Freak. A big echo, but it's not going to be enough, Ocean. He tried, but he's going to get taken out instantly. Husky, he's channeling the freezing field, but he is gone. 4-man wipeout for PentAce. 4 Zoomers, the only person they have left alive is going to be Sammy, which I suppose if anyone was going to be alive, you'd rather it be the PL. It's still not going to be a great feeling at all for 4 Zoomers.
No, they're lagging behind a bit now in net worth. 2k lead up for PentAce. Sammy is still getting that steady build up. Again, the Manta Cell is going to be a big power spike for him, but gotta say, Gunner trying to walk around there with his Invis is just a bit costly. They can't scout out with the Invoker anymore. You just can't walk around like that. The wards from PentAce has been causing issues as well. It was a ward that spotted them smoke earlier on down in mid. This ward up in their cliff as well, spotting them out in the jungle quite nicely. And Zoomers need to get some control back on the map. They don't have as good vision. They've got a ward down bot in the jungle, but they're not playing in that space at all. So it's a pretty pointless ward, and they need to retake control on their side of the map. Do get some D wards down now, but PentAce already got that value earlier on.
PentAce back up towards the dire side of the jungle. Everyone just seemingly pretty comfortable to farm for now. How's Veer doing? We haven't looked at him in a while, but looks like he doing pretty well. Going for a BKB up next. As PentAce has been making a lot of space for the Gyro this game, and they're going to make even more now by this tier 2 top tower dropping. Snaky will go ahead and take that. It's 4 Zoomers. They commit the Exorcism mid lane to get the tier 1 mid tower. That's going to be about it. I mean, it's just about taking objectives right now and securing more farm for both teams, as neither position 1 is really feeling ready to fight yet. Sammy is still finding himself on top of the net worth board, however. But now, PentAce, they are going to go into the Roshan pit. They're going to try and rush this. Ryoya actually ends up dying by himself. I believe that was a silence out from Brax, and he couldn't do much about it. So a very nice kill from 4 Zoomers. And that's actually going to force them out of the Roshan pit.
Yeah, they need a storm around if they want to take the follow-up fight. And also that pit is a tight spot. Ocean can easily get a big slam off in the middle. Gunner's Orchid is paying off. Like, if you find the angle in the storm, you get the silence off. There's nothing defensive yet on Ryoya. So until the BKB's up, he's going to be vulnerable to that control.
Z-Freak wanted the D ward. Cold Snap going to be there from Gunner. EMP out. Probably not going to land. And the Cold Snap is going to wear off. Luckily for Z-Freak, he had the haste rune, so he's not going to die.
BKB timings here for PentAce are going to be really important. You're close to it on Fear. You're somewhat close to it on Ryoya, just lacking the recipe as well. So once you have those BKBs to control the playstyle 4 Zoomers wants to have here, falls flat. They have nothing to contend with the Storm with a 10-second BKB. They're going to have to deal with the Gyrocopter as well, and it can get a bit dicey. So you can see that Zoomers... Gunner is just being really proactive by constantly ghost walking and scouting out. They want to keep finding these kills, but PentAce is just very smart, just working the opposite side of the map and avoiding any engagements and dip back into the Roche pit.
Strike is going to scout it out. They aren't going to try and contest, of course. Bottom tier 2 tower is going to be the objective that they try to take on 4 Zoomers end of things. So Roshan for a tier 2. PentAce, they've smoked up again. They're going to move down towards the bot lane. They might run straight into Gunner. No, he's going to run with his team.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower
Here is still waiting very patiently for someone to show up, but nobody's around. So 4 Zoomers, they're all out of there. They know that the smoke occurred. And this is going to be quite detrimental for PentAce because they're not spending enough time farming this gyrocopter, I don't think. He's still 2k behind Sammy.
Oh, Gunner.
Gunner's been caught. Nice gank there from Ryoya. And now Ryoya's going to be out of mana. He's going to try for a TP play with the rest of his BKB, and he's going to make it. Ocean unwilling to go for the Blink nor the Fisher. They're still trying to have a look through the tree line, but he is already gone.
Yeah, it's a pretty big pickoff, and first BKB use for Ryoya. Not the biggest team fight for it, but he finds Gunner. So overall, you're still going to be very glad PentAce can start weaving their way towards that mid-tier 2 now, or even eye that bot tier 1 if they want to. For the next engagement, they've got all the things they need on hand. BKB flying out for Fear now as well. So you do have a lot of ways to just stand and fight, and Zoomers are going to be caught off guard once Fear shows that BKB. They just don't have enough damage solely on the PL to deal with that just yet. Sammy needs a lot more farm in PL to truly not care about these BKBs, and he's saving up for the Scotty next. It's still a ways off, so Zoomers will want to take this one slow. PentAce, for their part, don't mind playing slow as well. I mean, you have scalability with Gyro, you've got scalability with Storm, so if Zoomers wants to play the slower game, then I think PentAce will just say, yeah, we don't mind at all. They can set their eyes mid, though.
Yeah, I mean, the tier 2 tower going to be focused here by PentAce.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Going to be a very easy tier 2. Zip in, Ryoya, top lane, gonna make the jump in onto the DP. Brax trying to survive, but they will take him down. Nice and easy there with Ryoya. Right now, Ryoya's kind of looking like the carry here for PentAce, while Fear is still trying to just get some more gold up on the gyro. And Storm, again, it is, you know, borderline a free Storm game, so Ryoya's having a great old time. Especially once he got the BKB up, it kind of just became impossible to kill him. Still, 4 Zoomers just not 100% feeling ready yet with their PL. We'll just continue the farm up. While PentAce, they're just going to try and focus down the top tier 3 tower. And it looks like they're just going to take them free at this rate. 4 Zoomers just not ready to fight yet.
Yeah, this slower pace is going to hurt. If they lose the racks on top of this, you're going to be losing a lot of space. And remember, there's still an Aegis here in Fear.
I mean, they're out of there. PentAce, they don't get punished at all. Free tier 3 tower. I don't know how much faith I have in this PL. Like, it's still looking really good with all this farm. Fear's actually going back for a Mjolnir now, so he wants a way to clear the illusions. And even if Fear can't carry the game on the gyro, I'm still worried, at least for 4 Zoomers, that Ryoya can on the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, the Storm's just having way too good of a time. Zoomers could not punish it early on in the laning phase. They didn't really hunt it down before the BKB came up, so the spikes are there for Ryoya. He's having a free ride into the Bloodstone as well. Zoomers, they needed to play a faster game with a 4 Protect 1. They might get picked off as well.
And they found Husky on the CM. That's going to be a nice easy kill. They also get Ocean, so both supports dying already for 4 Zoomers. Gunner, he's going to drain the mana of Z-Freak, but that's about all he can do right now on this Invoker. He needs some more levels to get some points in Exort. They're not really going to be able to capitalize with these supports down, but it kind of just goes to show you how easy it is to pick people off right now for PentAce.
Yeah, it's really easy to just get that zip with the Storm, and I don't know, when I'm looking at Gunner, it doesn't feel like he has any impact at all right now. Like, he comes in, maybe if he lands his Orchid and the combos on top, he can really start to melt people, but he's out of earn charges, so he doesn't have the easy interrupts anymore on hand, because, well, he hasn't found a kill recently. Zoomers have stalled long enough that they do have the Scotty up on Sammy. They do smoke up around that item timing.
Dire structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower.
Wrapping around for Zoomers.
Dire's bottom tower is no
It'll be the first time we've really seen them start a big team fight up against the side of PentAce.
tower is under attack.
Gonna sneak up from the backside. They'll spot out Mu. Some nice warding there. Snaking. He'd be a big target. They'll silence him up. The Beastmaster's gonna be in big trouble. Call down is down, but Sammy has gotten the Beastmaster to the start. Still Gunner is low. Ryoya just gonna kill him off by himself. Now Fear just gonna BKB and TP right out. And Z-Freak looks like he's accepted the fact that he's gonna die. They'll even use the freezing field just in case. It's going to end up being a 1-for-2 trade in the favor of 4 Zoomers. I'm sure they would have liked a bit more though, considering how well of a start they had to that fight. But they won't get anything else.
I think they're being really conservative, which is a fair move. They're just trying to burn through these early BKBs. So the Storm charge down to 8. Fear, of course, popping his 10-second charge there just to bail out. I don't think they're too upset. I mean, Zoomers, they held off on using the Echo Slam, knowing that the BKBs would just kind of counteract that. So I think it's just a bit of a game of attrition for Zoomers. They're trying to apply that pressure, force BKB charges, pull back, find what they can, rinse and repeat. And if you're not using these BKBs offensively for PentAce, I think that's more than enough for the Zoomers. Like, once it's down to 5 seconds, your supports will have more angles to play with. They don't have as much to worry about. They do still have to be cautious, though. Once they're going in 1 by 1, there are angles here for PentAce to play with.
There was a bit of a chase up to Husky. Ocean, nice Fisher. Sunstrike gonna fly in. That'll be Mu dead.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Just a small pickup for them. I mean, they'll take what they can get. Not a very significant kill for the Zoomers to find. There is a Roche that's going to be coming out from 40, and they might be able to catch people 1 by 1. Right now, PentAce are sort of just streaming single file. They're not coming in as a group just yet. So there's a lot more for Zoomers to play with. They're not pressured in their jungle, although there are some good wards coming out, but they do manage to get the B wards eventually. There's still a lot of room to grow here, as you know, you're still seeing that consistent farm on Sammy. Still number 1. He's trying to rush the Abyssal next for some control on his own. And Gunner is just trying to save up for his Shiva's Guard, get some durability up front, and get some good slows on hand as well. And I think overall Zoomers, they're only about 1k behind. 16 to 12, so there's still a momentum advantage here for PentAce overall. But you are finding some good distribution on the side of Zoomers. And PentAce, I mean, if you play the slow game, like the Gyrocopter is always going to be a bit more efficient. And you can see Fear saving up for the Butterfly next, so the evasion could cause issues for the PL. And they are smoked up trying to find something, but again, they don't have control up top anymore, so no vision means no kills.
The line was drawn out. They seem to know exactly where PentAce was with that smoke. Now they'll go into the Roshan pit. This is going to be after the Sunstrike was committed. They might be able to get away with this, but a counter smoke is there from 4 Zoomers, and they should be able to make it in time. They'll run straight into Mu, who does break the smoke. Fisher out, Roshan still happening, but now the call down is there. Sammy going to be ignored. Ryoya, he went into the backlines after the supports, and at least find the Earthshaker. Now they do lose Husky as well. Fear, he does go down to the PL. Sammy is just ripping them to shreds. And Gunner is also going to kill the Storm. they kind of just went all over the place with that team fight. Sammy was allowed to focus down Fear, who really isn't farmed enough to be able to fight up against this PL yet. Sammy's really just taken over. He's farmed the whole game. He's got a 6k advantage over the gyrocopter. And if he's left alone up against Fear, he's gonna win because of how much farm he has.
Yeah, the BKB can't save you from the PL at this point. I get why Ryoya had to jump the backline. Like, he prevented the slam from coming true, but he got controlled up by Gunnar afterwards. Gunnar just managing to make good use of his BKB, did manage to get the follow-up Orchid, and because the Storm BKB is so short and getting shorter, there's not much of a window for Ryoya to play with anymore, so he has to be very cautious when he pops the BKB and who he goes for with that spell immunity. But with the Aegis on Zoomer's side, they can look at the high ground themselves now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a nice, easy high ground with the Alacrity for Sammy. It's going to make it much faster. They'd love to force some buybacks as Sammy just dives right in after Moo with the Abyssal Blade. Z-Freak unable to get there in time to save him with the Snowball. That'll be the tier 3 tower gone. There's no buyback on Moo, and Gunnar giving the tip over. That'll be a rat's taken now for Zoomers. Sammy turns right back around for it. He almost forgot. He's going to be just fine. Dodging out the homing missile as well. It's starting to feel like 4Zoomer's game to lose. Like, this gyrocopter just doesn't have enough to deal with these illusions anymore. He's trying to go for the Mjolnir. Even then, I think Sammy's just way too far ahead, and if he really wants to, on top of that Eye of Skadi, he could afford to go for a heart now. And that would literally make it feel impossible.
Yeah, and this is the issue with Gyro into PL. On paper, you have ways of clearing out the illusions, but if you don't get that farm up to match the PL, it just doesn't feel great. And your damage output as a gyrocopter is so much lower as well. Like, it just doesn't line up. You need so much more farm on the gyro to be able to hit that mark. And Sammy was just AFK farming this entire game. He wasn't punished much at all. Every single time they jump in, the rest of the team would buy him out that space. You can see Snaking trying to split push bot, finds a tier 2, but the high ground's exposed, and there's Exorcism backup for Brax.
It's going to make it very easy. With Alacrity for Sammy, it's just so much faster for him to take down these towers. So much extra damage with that Alacrity. Zip in from Ryoya. He's trying to clear out some creeps and just harass them a little bit while he can. Homing missile, Light Strike already landed. They've got the PL, but he's still got the Aegis, and he's just not dying. Sammy finally goes down. They had to pop the Laguna for that. On to the task. Looks like Z-Freak probably going to die here to Gunnar. Ryoya comes back in, trying to go on to the PL. Sammy's still tanking. They committed the roll, though, and they are going to get him. Husk shards out. Gunnar slowed up, is going to be able to still walk away, but now Fear taking care of Husky. Back onto the Invoker. He tried to turn around, but Ocean, a big Echo committed with the Fisher out, but there's not going to be follow-up to it. There's not going to be enough follow-up. It's just too late. And as it gets, I mean, if they can perma-stun the PO like that, of course they're going to get through it. It took them a long time, but the Roar from Snaking did the job. Well, they hold on to that second lane of barracks at least. They only lost the range racks.
Yeah, that's some pretty good news for the side of PentAce. What's not good news is dropping your Storm like that, and he is down to a 6-second BKB. So as that ticks down, it's down to the supports of PentAce to get that control off onto Sammy. And Sammy, I mean, he's feeling confident, but you gotta respect that chain stunning is saving up for a BKB next. So he just wants to focus in, only force out the Roar, not have to worry about anything else. There's an opportunity here for PentAce to get a bit of a shove in of their own, but without the Storm, they're not going to be able to commit to any bigger fight. So it's just back to farming, trying to build up. Snaking is trying to save for his Aghanims on the Beastmaster. That means no cooldown on Wild Axis. That is a very potent way of dealing with the PL illusions, as long as your Beastmaster is in a good position. So I like this build up on Snaking. Should allow them to at least deal with Sammy Boy a little bit better here, and just allow you to cleave through the illusions quite nicely. In fact, Sammy switches his build again, going for the Mage Slayer instead. So you want to be able to tank through some of that magic damage and take away the potency of the damage on PentAce. And if you get some hits off onto the Storm, well, his damage is just going to start to feel like a tickle with Overload and Ball Lightning, and even the Remnant not going to be able to do much with a Mage Slayer debuff on hand.
Mid lane for Zoomers. Just hanging around. Buy Sammy some more time for that Mage Slayer. It's an item we really don't get to see very often, but I do like it.
Yeah, it's potent. It's got really good stats for Sammy late in the game, so you can ditch the Hood of Defiance. You can just go for something else on the magic resist for him, and it's really helpful. Again, against the Storm, it's nice. Against the Lina, it's still nice. Even the Gyrocopter, to some extent, still has to depend on some spell damage. So you take away that potency, it can be good. However, Fear with a Butterfly is going to be a lot harder to pierce down. The evasion is not something the PL will enjoy. So we'll see if Sammy will have to opt for something to break that. For now, though, Mage Slayer up. It just has a little bit more damage on and a little bit more durability. We'll see what the play is. As there is a smoke here from PentAce, and Sammy's alone.
Well, they're going to go in. Sammy. Oh, they'd love the kill. Sammy's trying to bait with the illusion, but they know. They know what he's doing. And now they know where the real one is. They're going to jump in with the Walrus Punch and the Fear and the Roar. Everything being thrown out. Echo committed by Ocean, trying to save the day. The Snowball will actually do it though. Sammy's still alive. Abyssal Blade out with the Doppel. He's going to try and run, but a great chance out. Catching him on the PL. Gunner, Sunstrike. He does get Ryoya. That's one big bonus for 4 Zoomers, but Z-Freak, he's going to keep moving forward. They want the Invoker. Gunner will kill another one. They might be able to turn now. The Exorcism still going from Brax onto Fear. And Gunner literally saves the day there, John, because they would have gone straight high ground after. There's no buybacks on any of those deaths for 4 Zoomers. That could have been very, very painful. Had Gunner not gotten the kill on Ryoya and Z-Freak.
Yeah,
like, gotta be a little bit more careful.
Even at this arm, just saving them from taking further losses. Fear had to turn around. He's causing a lot of damage coming out from DP and even Gunner. So that does save the situation. They did lose a massive lead there, and Sammy again standing up front like this doesn't pay off. I know they're trying to bait, but when they drop all the spells, it's the same story. Sammy just dies with all of the control, despite his durability. He is trying to save up for a Divine now, seeing that Butterfly on Fear. If he does go for the Divine, he's got to be safe. He's got to play it safe. They need to have someone else front line. I think your best bet is actually just throwing Brax up front and having him cop all the spells, and then just follow up afterwards, as they're not finding the angles right now in Zoomers. And PentAce are getting some good punishment out. They just can't transition to objective, so as long as the high ground stays safe, I think Zoomers are just always going to be happy, although
they're coming in to try and contest this outpost. They have found out Snake King. Silence him up, slow him down. Sammy going to come in to take the kill. Snake King does have buyback on the Beastmaster. He probably won't need to expend it anyway. A nice kill there from 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, that should allow them more control in the jungle if they want to. The Roche is going to be spawning up in a minute, so that might be where we see both teams really toss out their bodies in front. But it looks like Sammy does want to pressure the lanes with his illusion, so looking for that range racks. Not going to take too long for the PL to clear out the mid lane entirely. You would like the melee racks up top, but that could be a risk for Sammy here, so just playing it safe.
Sammy's right out. Divine Rapier queued up on the PL now.
Yeah, I mean, there's that evasion on the Gyrocopter with the Butterfly, and I don't think he really wants an MKB, so it has to be the Divine play. It's just such a risky play for the PL, as we've seen him die so many times, and Sammy's just standing on ward as well. Has to be careful. Every single time he's isolated like this, PentAce just makes use of it, and he is actually all alone here.
They haven't made use of it yet. Sammy's still fine.
Oh, Roche is up, though. That's gonna be hard. Yeah.
Sammy's gonna rush in.
Big. They could try to jump in. Ryoya could still make a zip play here, but they need to find her angle as well. And Sammy has to be very, very careful. He is solo once more, and they do get a good scan here in PentAce.
Can they make it in time? I mean, they definitely can, because Sammy by himself can't take it that fast. They smoked up around him, though. Fall down is there on the left side. They do find out Z-Freak, who's going to go for a bit of a snowball. They haven't quite found the target they want to go on yet. Z-Freak, though, is an easy one because he is just kind of stuck right now. They will put the ice path down and eventually take him out. Meanwhile, Gyrocopter trying to jump in to take down the Roshan. They all zip in. Fear does grab it. He's got the Aegis on the Gyro. Sammy's dead on the PL again, and this is really bad news. He's going to try and buy back. They'll go after the Gyrocopter, get rid of that Aegis, and they'll get it. But Ryoya, he gets Husky, forces another buyback. Gunner now with the BKB going after Snaking. Fear meanwhile trying to fight by himself. Sammy's back into the team fight. They get the Gyro, but he can buy back on that Gyrocopter. He'll hold out for now. Snaking to die. They found another in the form of Mu. He'll also go down to the Lina. And so the only person without buyback is going to be the Beastmaster. Everybody else can commit.
That was a really ugly Roche, though. Sammy having to dip in and out. He wanted to find the kill on the Tusk first. Meant that the Roche was just a mess in the pit. Do at least find a follow-up, but now they're going to have to play for objectives. And you still have to be cautious with Sammy. He has no buyback. This could be messy if he does fall here.
Could be. Strike array lands. No follow-up yet. Z-Free keep linked in, but he's been silenced up immediately by Brax. Oh, the call down coming in as well. Sammy committing the Abyssal Blade, but Ryoya with the Vortex holding them down, trying to get the job done by himself. He gets Brax. They'll zip forward again. They want more. There is a peel and a snowball for now. Sammy's still going to survive. So they got the bot melee barracks. There is still a range barracks there, and there's a melee barracks at the top lane, so there's no mega creeps yet. Zip in Ryoya. Oh, he found Gunner. He finds Gunner by himself. Ryoya just zips right in and takes the kill. No buyback on that Invoker. But I don't believe they're going to go high ground on the Dire side anyway. Looks like they are just going to sit back and try to get some more farm up. Fear is very close to Satanic now, so he may as well just go ahead and get that. And Sammy probably going to go back for the Divine Rapier, but he is a while off till he has it up.
Yeah, it's such a back and forth game already. 28 to 27, 1k lead for the Zoomers. They are up ahead in terms of Araxes, but they're in a very tenuous spot with these buyback situations. Still 5.5 minutes for Sammy to have his off cooldown. And in fact, there are only 2 buybacks in the entire map right now. Everyone else lacking gold. Only Brax and Ocean having that ready on hand. So it's a very, very risky time for both sides. There is enough time for the respawn for Gunner to actually tick up, unless they force the issue now. And Sammy does go back for the BKB instead. So he wants that spell immunity. He understands that with just a roar, I think the BKB is going to be long enough that he can just survive through it. And, you know, with a BKB, you can dodge the initial stunts if the roar doesn't come out. And then it becomes maybe a bit harder for you to jump onto the PL, as he can just run his illusions down to the Beastmaster and try to burn the mana off first. So more protection for Sammy. This could make a big difference for him in the middle of these fights. The goal lead has swung back and forth. PentAce now having a slight advantage, but they can't really capitalize, and the next Roche is still going to be some time off. So all you really have here is to maybe clear out the jungle, get some more farm up, get some items built up. Fear is starting to hit like a truck. He's actually going for a Divine now, Mike, on Fear. So
you have to. No way you don't.
Go for the straight damage. You want to melt the PL. Damage has been an issue for Fear. Once you have this up, there's no surviving. So you have to watch that. Even a double damage here for Fear as well. Getting everything he wants. And that's going to be the next spike for PentAce. It's the all-in play. If Fear gets caught out, and we have seen that a couple of times, it can really swing in favor of Zoomers. So it's just a tightrope of a match here from both sides.
I think the fact that Sammy went for the BKB might be pretty big as well. 10-second charge BKB on Sammy, so he ignores the Divine Rapier. He might get a free one off Fear, depending on the circumstances, very soon. Fear would have loved to go for a fight with this DD rune, but it is going to wear off by the time they get into a fight with 4 Zoomers. They have smoked up and they are running towards the bot side of the map. Looks like PentAce doesn't want to take the fight, and they are going to leave anyway on 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, it's a safe time to bail out. They don't really have the information on hand to spot out where PentAce is. Have to say, Gunner's build-up is pretty darn nice. He's got the Octarine on the Invoker now. He has the Spell Prism as well, so the cooldown on his spells being that low is actually going to make a very big difference. You have to remember the BKBs on the side of PentAce because they went for them early. They're down to 5-second charges. That means the uptime of Invoker spells are going to be that more impactful. And PentAce, they're just going to have to be very cautious with how they approach the fights. They're still trying to hunt down in the Dark Triangle, but Zoomers are playing very nicely on the opposite side of the map, not going to be privy to that bait.
What's the game plan, though? Like, are we waiting for Sammy to get enough gold for a Divine Rapier now as well, or are they're going to loop up to the top, they're going to push out the top lane, and maybe they try to rat the racks down? It seems like they don't want a direct fight with the side of PentAce, which is fair enough. And yeah, that might just be the plan. Just keep putting pressure on the side lanes. Try to get those melee Meraxes going down. I don't think you're necessarily going to get them, though, unless you commit for the high ground attempt from 4 Zoomers.
Middle tower is under attack.
But they do seem quite afraid of going into a fight. I can't blame them, because Fear does have that Divine Rapier. But I feel like the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get, because Fear can still buy an Axe. He hasn't got one yet. So that's just going to help even more for Fear.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to skyrocket his damage output. He can still upgrade his Morbid Mask into a Satanic as well down the line. So there's still a lot of options there for the Gyrocopter. I think what Zoomers are trying to do is stall out for buybacks. You're still about a minute 20 away from Sammy having his off cooldown. Then he's going to need a gold to farm it up as well. They just want to be ready for that next engagement, and they don't want to be stuck in a situation where if they lose the game. So the slower play is the safer play for them, and at least making sure they've got some options to dive back into these fights. And it's also buying time for Roche, so we're about a minute off from seeing that respawn timer, and that should help the cause. You've got a nice Aeon Disc on Gunner, so if you jump the Invoker, it's still going to be around to get his spells off, and that is also pretty significant for Gunner. So he's just going to have access to his team fight anyway, in case they do commit onto him. That could cause some issues for PentAce with that item reveal down the line. And there is a smoke now on Zoomers.
Gotta be careful for that AoE Vortex of Ryoya. Was big the last team fight. 4 Zoomers waiting for a power rune to spawn, it seems. And they don't get lucky at top. It is going to be a haste rune down at bot. Bounty rune's up as well.
East.
Mid lane, just all the units being thrown out. Fisher does land. Follow-up stuns there on Snaking, but they aren't going to try and capitalize. Still not just finding the opening. I guess both teams are stuck waiting for Roshan, but it's a late timer as well. It's one of the longest Roshans you can have. So we're still waiting another 2 minutes. And, I mean, that's it. We're literally just waiting for the Roshan to respawn. I really don't think either team's going to engage till then.
No. It's a risky spot, and again, this series is very important for either side in figuring out how they stand in groups. especially for Zoomers, although.
Oh, they do jump in. There is a Warrior's Punch, but Ryoya gets the Vortex off. They found Sammy. Oh, Sammy's down. He's got buyback gold. Brax. Laguna. Oh, he hit a unit.
He doesn't have the Ags upgrade yet, so it doesn't quite pierce through BKB.
Oh, I thought I saw the Laguna go right behind Brax.
It's the shard. You can
Oh,
ground
the
target it.
shard, of course. How could I forget? Thank you for that,
Yeah,
John.
it's pretty potent. Just don't have the Ags upgrade, so that's a bit of a downside. They did manage to kill the PL, so that might open up the Roche. As we mentioned, it's a slower timer, so they can't quite transition to it fully, and that should stall out long enough for Sammy to maybe even just respawn. They couldn't find anything else on top of that, and Zoomers are just going to be able to keep playing the shove game out. They're going to try to shove down bot. They're going to try to get that ranged racks on bot and apply even more pressure. Gunner's scouting around, though. Ryoya.
And they found the Storm. That'll be a massive pick off. Ryoya not BKBing. Now he does. Back on a Gunner. Warrior's Punch is not going to land. Ghostwalk will save the day. Meanwhile, bot lane. Brax trying to rat the bot lane, but he is going to be there to defend, and up against the Rapier. Brax cannot sustain himself. Homing Missile is just following him down. They might keep chasing. He will juke it out with the Yules. Now the zip in from Ryoya. He wants to find a target. He runs right into Gunner. The silence is there. He doesn't have mana or the BKB. He's going to die. Now they're trying to turn up a fear. Pops his own BKB. Ready to fight with that Rapier. Whenever Gunner, Aeon Disc gonna proc. He's gonna try and do something about this. Deafening Blast, Chaos Meteor in the backlines. They've got the Tusk there. He's still BKB'd up, trying to fight. Sunstrike is not gonna be enough. Fear is healing throughout all this. Just the Morbid Mask alone is gonna be enough for him to survive. They get Brax on the DP. Gunner, he bought back. He wanted the Rapier. They would at least get Snaking. Brax is up as well. They might just find Moo. He TP's away. Z-Freak trying to protect Fear, who has no way out of this. He's lost the Rapier.
Oh, goodness me. Oh, this is going to be really hard, and that's all from the back of Ryoya diving in too deep. That jump with no mana, that just costed him.
The patience game paying off for 4 Zoomers. Sammy had a Divine queued up anyway, but you know, if you can get one for free, you'd rather take that. Buybacks are available, but PentAce has got to figure out how they're going to take this engagement. It's not going to be easy. That being said, once they catch out Sammy, it's not very hard to burst him down. Not anymore, it isn't. But you've got to catch him first, and that's the hard part. For now, tier 4s are exposed and Megas are up. And that'll be enough for 4 Zoomers. No rush for them. They don't wish to throw the Divine away. Looks like they're going to let the Mega Creeps do their work. And I guess just
Roche.
wait for the right moment. Yeah, Roche.
And it's got everything. Ags upgrade, refresh, cheese, Aegis. It's going to be big for them once they pick this up, especially a refresh on, say, Gunner or Brax for the next Exorcism. That could be really hard to fight into.
Oh, we actually have a pause coming out. I mean, Husky is correct. There is some lag right now. It seems like some server lag going on. Could also be the fact that there's so many things in the map with PL and DP and Beastmaster. Just a lot of things happening.
Yeah, my FPS has been dipping as well. Below 140, Mike. It's insulting.
Oh boy. I don't know how you're doing it, John.
All right. Looks like we're good. That should be enough time for PentAce to make a choice. They could try to zip in with Ryoya, but he's a bit far. I think that would drain his mana pool. So he's going to be stuck in that same position. He needs mana, obviously, to get his Vortex off, to zip around, to get the BKB off.
He
Be
could
cautious in that angling here.
I think he could make it. He's got the Bloodstone active as well, so he has a way to reset. Still no unpause here. PentAce are the ones that I believe need to unpause. Husky has said go ahead, so we'll just wait a bit for PentAce. There we go. Snaking's ready to go. And they are going to leave the Roshan pit after seeing PentAce moving in. Refresher Orb now up on Snaking. Another Divine Rapier on Fear.
Ooh.
Husky into the Roshan pit again, but the ball's going to scout him out. He might just die, but no, they don't want to initiate on the CM of all things. EMP. Gonna catch out Mu. He'll use up. Sammy's going to try and burst him down. It looks like he might just get it. He is trying to take the Roshan while all this is happening, but he is getting quite low himself. The BKB, the bashes through the BKB. He's lost another Divine Rapier. It's on the deck. Sammy's trying to pick it up. He does get it. 2 Divines for 2 hands. GG is called by Snaking. And PentAce, they do not manage to pull it off. Game 1 will go the way of 4 Zoomers.
Oh, what a game 1 as well between these two sides. For Zoomers, it looked rocky at the start. You're seeing Ryoya start to take over. Gunnar was not having good time in his lane. Fear was having the time of his life farming up, but Sammy was just adamant about farming in the jungle. He wasn't punished. He built up. And the back and forth game was just amazing. Now remember, Zoomers did win against PentAce when they were sad boys in the NADPC. There were some doubts about the PL pick. I know you were pointing that out. I believed in it. I knew there was an angle for it, and it worked out. So, really close one, though. That was right on the edge. If Sammy just got caught out once more with a refresh roar at the end, that would have been it as well for Zoomers. But PentAce just being a bit too impatient in the pit, they got punished for it.
All right, well, with that, John, we are going to move on to Game 2 between PentAce and 4 Zoomers. It's MLP johnxfire, and we should be back in roughly 10 minutes for our second game.